After my mother died in '95, I came back and people had given me a bit of money to spend in the name of my mother, and I said, what better but a kitchen, because she was always a great one for food. And so I started this food program, which was basically a humanitarian gesture for students who were walking hours to school and walking home and were there without any food at all. It was given that focus by the fact that I was doing it in memory of my mother.
If a student gets a good meal and she'll get a good health, she can also study well.
Getting women educated in Africa is a real challenge. In our school in Tanzania, we made a concerted drive because most of these students there are from Maasai-based tribes, and they don't educate the girls.
The girl is a valuable property. She can be sold off for cows as a dowry. So education is not always valued by some of the Maasai.
So to push education for girls, we established hostels to encourage the girls to come in, live Monday to Friday, go back to the village.
So I began with hostels, and the first hostel started with 13 Maasai girls who had been walking daily to school, about 2.25 hours, 2.5 hours each day to school. And they came in on Monday and walked home Friday. So it was responding to the need then of this local community to help these girls particularly. So it became so successful, I opened up hostels for boys.
Many people here come from far away, so to be in the hostel, it's helped also a lot.
When we went to Form 5 and 6, that's A-level education, I knew boarding was the only way to go because the numbers of students that are qualifying for that education are very few, and so your catchment area needs to be quite wide, and boarding was absolutely necessary.
Winning the support of the local Maasai chief to allow his children to go to school and stay in the hostels was critical, as education for girls is a low priority for many families.
Well, the Maasai chief was simple, and the Maasai people, if you want to provide a free service, they will come along. Admittedly, convincing them to bring their daughters was another issue, but again, one step enough, and we certainly were able to encourage more of their boys to come.
Indeed, the local chief has 9 wives himself and 70 children. So not only is he influential in the eyes of his community, his example is a powerful one. Clearly, the chief has been won over, as some of his children, both sons and daughters, now attend the school. Of course, the students themselves can appreciate the opportunity they're being given. In fact, the chief's eldest son, a former student at the school, acted as interpreter.
They are benefiting a lot by sending their children there and get a lot of help from Christian brothers.
And education's going to change all these young marriages where Maasai girls are assigned to elders as second and third and fourth wives. The girls are now thinking about it differently, and the people around Arusha are thinking about it differently too.
The more educated people are, the more they're likely to be able to get a job and help themselves, and particularly girls. Girls' education is very important. I read somewhere once that a girl who even just went to Standard 7, that's the end of primary school, her chances of having infant mortality was reduced by something like 90%, just so she could recognise when kids were sick. And all that was about trying to empower girls and give them something beyond carting buckets of water around and being beaten up by their husband for the rest of their life.
It's a big day for the school. Students, staff and supporters are celebrating the school's foundation. It's a great way for the students to share their heritage with classmates from different areas of Tanzania. The whole school participates. And for the students, it's a brief respite from their studies.
I wanted to be a lawyer.
I want to be a doctor.
Most of the students tell me they want to be lawyers or doctors, and we need them to be educated into more knowledge about what the options are into the future for them. I think it's not just university, it's having people, educated people who are able to provide leadership in local community as well as in the wider community of Tanzania.
Really, money for education is much valued and needed. So the assistance we get from Australia has come at the right time and for the right need.
I think the equipment are coming from Australia. Sometimes I have to asking a volunteer, what is this for? It's my first time seeing, I don't know what is the use of this. So those volunteers really help me sometimes.
The good thing about Edmund Rice Sinon is that whilst, you know, all the policemen and the ministers and all these people want to send their kids there, there's that component of local people who can't pay, who are still admitted on a yearly basis.
About a quarter of our kids would be sponsored.
And Frank has done a wonderful job in finding scholarship money for them right throughout Australia.
40 of them are from the Christian Brothers Foundation in Melbourne, and then the rest from different volunteers who have come through their families and so on. Without that sponsorship, those kids would have no chance of an education.
There are a lot of students here who cannot afford to attend this school or even government schools, which though professedly free, are not as free as they could be.
The school community should model the wider community, and Christian-Muslim divide is going to be a big test for Africa, as it is around the world.
50% will be Catholic, 30 Lutherans, and 20 Muslims. There's no differences at all. Just we have accepted all the students as equal. Students, all of them feel comfortable that we are accepted here despite our differences in religious belief.
And we learnt to live and celebrate, even in terms of major feast days, and even people of different faiths learnt to celebrate. And if we could create harmony there and respect and understanding, that was going to be a gift for the wider community.
Before, we were only taking the students coming from Arusha area, but now we are taking all over the Tanzania.
Its reputation is that it's come from nothing to something in such a short time. And now you want everybody sending their kids there.
Schools like this, like Edmund Rice, where we teach students not to be corrupt. The country at the moment, there are a lot of things which are happening, and sometimes we feel maybe those people, those leaders, who are not taught well. So it's good to bring up a student knowing he's going to be a leader, who is free of corruption, who can think differently, can think for people and not for his own selfish needs.